like get in the format, get the cards.
Yeah, it's definitely like something you don't commonly see because it's really hard to have those 2006 era cards around. So this is cool that we can make this experience pretty much accessible to anybody through Google Sheets draft. So I'm really excited. I have not really seen much of this cube yet, so this is going to be a new experience for me here. And we do have 8 drafters tonight, so it's going to be great. It's a 720 card cube, so everybody's getting a good share of cards here. Um, this is actually going to be coming up in our next team challenge in the Cube Discord. So we are very excited to see how it runs here tonight. We're going to be following various players throughout the draft. We're going to be right now starting with Mysterious Player here. And in this, I do believe, is his first pack. So looks like he's picking up the Nido Queen with the Family Bonds. Davi, how do you feel? Do you think that's maybe the card you would go for here? Or I know there's a few other interesting cards in here with the admin, the POW. Sorry, the POW and the
Um,
Holland receiver.
yeah, I think this is for sure the right card to pick. This cube has a lot of power on the trainer, so like if you're talking about a normal cube, you only have two, maybe three Rockets admin or N. We have 12 Rockets admin in this cube, 12 copycat and Steven's advice for everyone to get like a fair share of them. So we really need to focus on the line toppers, the cards that will make your deck do the thing it's supposed to do, and you get some amount of Steven's advice and Rocket Admin later and retrievers and such. But this Nido Queen is one of the strongest line toppers in the cube. It's one of the best early game attackers. It makes use of either evolving pieces like Poke Power pieces, normally I guess Delcatis and Pidgeots, but it's also pretty good in disruption cards. It can use Cessation Crystal and Desert Ruins and Curse Stone really well. So this is the perfect first pick because you're open to grass, you're open to fighting, you're open to disruption, and you're open to like stage 2 goodness. So this is a really, really good pick for a Mysterious Player.
So usually, what you see in cubes is you can play multiple copies of cards. So like if there's 8 basics, you can play them all. But this has like a 4 card limit, right?
Yeah, because there are so many cards of the same name because so many decks need them. Like Holland Transceivers, many decks need like 2 to 3 to 4 Holland Transceivers, and if this rule wasn't in, decks would have like 8 Rockets and that's just insane to think about. So I just made that rule to get everything down to the ground, be closer to a normal cube than no, not a normal cube, normal card, like a normal deck
Like
from
the
what
decks
you
in
would
this era would
see.
be.
Yeah, and we're talking about 2003 to 2007. So there's a lot of time there, but not a lot of good supporters. The supporter quality that time is pretty bad actually. So we have to focus on like Stevens Copycat and Rockets Admin. Those are the three important ones. Then we have Celio's Network and Elm's String Method, which are like Pokemon searching supporters, which is pretty different from I guess newer meta games where you search with items. Back then you would search with supporters. The Holland line, the Holland transceiver and the supporters, which are pretty weak, but with the transceiver they're pretty good. And that's it basically. There, there's like Castaway, Mr. Briny, Scott, but not a lot of options there, and not a lot of good cards. So yeah, we have to have the up heavy like Steven copycat Rockets admin triangle for everyone to have a bit of them.
Yeah, it's an interesting contrast to maybe players who are comfortable with how standard works right now, where you're playing cards like Quick Ball really early to find your Pokemon. It's very fast paced. Where these decks take a bit more time to set up. So cards like Celo's Network, which is supporter that just searched out a Pokemon, wouldn't be very good in today's game. But back then, one of the ways you depended on getting Pokemon. So you definitely have to, I guess, take your time and think about the type of supporter quality you're going to need. Isn't necessarily going to be what you're used to with the discard all 7 supporters and stuff like that. So it's very cool. I like that it's very fitting for the era I should say that's meant to be in here. It looks like Mysterious Play is also having a tough time deciding between the cards in this pack. I know Retriever is generally a popular pick in a normal cube setting. Davi, I'm curious to see, is recovery like this as important early as it would be in other cubes?
I think so. The two recovery options in this cube are Retriever and not Holland Farmer. Holland Farmer being a bit slow, but it's fine for this power level. Retriever is bit stronger generally. There are decks that really want retrievers, like Dragtrode. Only has access to one Rocket Sneasel EX, which you see on the screen. So you want like 2 to 3 retrievers to use that card over and over again. For Nido Queen deck, which we don't know that Mysterious Player is going after Nido Queen or not, Retriever is fine. It's not like amazing or anything. He doesn't have like an auto pick here. No card is like very good. May I am thinking about the Celios network because both Nidoran and Nidorina from um, Fire Red and Leaf Green have pretty decent setup attacks. The Nidoran getting basics and the Nidorina getting evolution. So just straight up consistency. Like you get turn one Nidoran, turn two Nidorina, gets you the Nidoqueen turn three, and you can start using Toxic and go a little bit faster than all other decks, basically.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what he ends up picking here. Because yeah, I agree. The Celios Network, if it gets him that much more of a consistent deck, generally can end up being better off for him because consistency is always key. Um, I do wonder if there's any other picks that maybe he's eyeing up here. I'm not quite sure. I feel like it's probably between the Retriever and the Celios Network for me. Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure which cards maybe he's looking at. I'm interested to see um, if maybe he's having some network trouble even. Like, not sure.
Thinking about this Gardevoir because this is a tech Gardevoir. There's only one of it in the cube. The
Oh,
power
okay.
is heal 20 anywhere. Just heal 20. Maybe it's in your active. I don't remember actually. Um, from one of your Pokemon. So heal 20 anywhere. And Nidoqueen is a stage 2 with 120 HP. This doesn't seem like a lot, but this is a lot. This is like a two shot on most anything for most anything. I mean, and this Gardevoir may transform that into a three-hit KO, and that's a pretty important distinction on this era. This is a pretty slow game, and when you can gain a turn like that, it's pretty important. But it's slow, right? It's another stage 2 for your deck, which Nidoqueen kind of wants stage 2s on your bench because of their attack, but it's pretty slow. Like you need a very fast deck to make that engine work, and I don't know. Mysterious Player has played a lot in the past. He's one of the stronger veterans in this cube. I don't know which cards is he thinking about because yeah, it's pretty much Celio, Gardevoir, and Retriever, and he goes for the Retriever, which is completely fine.
Yeah, I think that would have been my pick here. Yeah, I'm interested that you brought up the Gardevoir because Pokemon in this era are generally stage 2 wise, cap out around 120 if they're non EXs, and the EXs have around 150. So 20 damage can definitely set your opponent back of like maybe a turn or so if they can't get the numbers to line up here. So the Gardevoir is pretty sneaky. I didn't realize it was a tech line in here, but it's a very good tech. I could definitely see someone being happy to snap that one up.
And that one Gardevoir was the only tech. There's two of the Gardevoir EX from Sandstorm and two of the Gardevoir from Ruby and Sapphire with Sky Shadow. That's like the main deck, and that Gardevoir can be played with like anything basically. Like a Flygon EX, it's pretty good. Maybe a Swampert EX also wants that to tank a bit. We see Mysterious Player going for the Delcatty. I'm surprised this Delcatty survived for 2 picks. I'm very surprised actually. Delcatty is usually a first pickable card. It can play in so many decks in this deck. These decks. I mean, like a Blaziken, a Swampert, Gardevoir, Flygon, Meta Knight, even Dragtrode, even like Delcatty is just so good for your consistency. I'm very surprised to see what the other drafters took above this Dokkaebi.
Yeah, I am as well because that was not a card you would expect to see pick 3. I mean, you're definitely happy to see it. So, I
Hmm.
mean, great draw line for him. I'm sure he's super happy to get it early because it makes it easier to pick up a skitty later on. So, looks like Mysterious Player is off to a good start here. Any other things people should watch out for in these drafts? Like any big cards for like lines that are good?
So, for newer players, Pokemon Star, you can only use a single Pokemon Star in your deck. Doesn't matter. It's kind of like Ace Specs. You can only choose one of them. You see in this pack a Latios star. It has the Shining Star attack. I think it's 150 damage if you are attacking to a stage 2 evolved Pokemon. This card is very strong, and it can be tacked into a lot of different decks. The two main decks mean Meta Knight and Gardevoir because they already use one of their energies. And this card is super important for both of these archetypes. Opening this early is very awkward because you kind of don't have your deck yet. Maybe someone like first picked the Gardevoir or first picked a Dragonite Delta, and they're like snap picking this if they see it because one shotting a stage 2 in this format is very hard. It's not easy. You have to set up a lot for it. It's usually Latios Star, Latias Star one shots the X's, so like Gardevoir EX and cards like Swampert EX also get one shot and some very specific attacks one shot. So this Latios is a very important piece for whoever is getting that.
Wow, that's a lot of copycat. So that was one of the big supporters you were talking about. As well as Curse Stone also in the pack. How I know Curse Stone tends to be a very popular card we see come up in a lot of drafts and other cubes. How good is Curse Stone in this era?
I'd say it's maybe stronger even
Oh,
than the other eras because there are ways to lock a curse stone in play that your opponent simply cannot play around it. You can use Radar Gem on Crobat Delta, Deafen on Dragonite EX Delta, and or you can just have a Houndoom on your bench using the Lone Stone Pokebody, and your opponent cannot interact with that curse stone. They cannot play items or stadiums to take that out. So a good curse stone deck is very, very scary in this draft. And Mysterious Player, interestingly, lets the curse stone go. I said before that Nidoqueen can use the disruption options there. He opts to go to like the double rainbow energy style of Hans Castform, which it's pretty good on Nidoqueen. Not sad to see the curse stone go, but he needs to find answers to that because his deck is gonna get wrecked if he plays against a strong Curstone deck.
yeah, I definitely agree. Looks like he took the Holland's cast from instead. Holland cast was pretty popular in a lot of decks, right? Because it just allows you to have, a lot of energy fixing and bouncing energy back to your hands. Always also good to have the follow up attachment. So you see like that working into a strategy here. You think?
Yeah, for sure. It's also important to remember that in this era, Honecast Form is also used as a setup starting basic. It has the attack Delta Draw, draws you one card for each Pokemon that has Delta in its name on your bench. So in decks like Meta Knight, for example, which all of your basics are deltas. I guess most of your basics are deltas. It's drawing you like 4 cards per turn, and you need a good um, setup basic on the early turns, like a Jirachi, a Dunsparce, or a Hounds Castform. So Nidoqueen does have some of these options. Some of the Nidorans and like Pidgeys and I don't know which other cards would you specifically need on this deck. They are deltas, so this is the fine pick even for that. And there are a lot of Honkas from on the drafter for this specific reason. It covers two niches, right? The searchable double rainbow energy and the setup basic.
Yeah, and I think Mysterious Player also is keeping himself fairly open here in these early picks, which is smart. Commonly, like if you get too bogged down in like specific deck you're trying to go for, it can generally lead to disaster unless you have some really strong early picks that can get you into an archetype. Him having just a Nidoqueen here, it's not necessarily telling if he's going to be able to play. He's going to play a Nidoqueen deck, so I think these picks are just good in general. Like Delcatty is going to be good in pretty much any deck he can probably put it in, as well as the Cast Farm, and then we see the Transceiver pick as well. So and I do appreciate that he is pretty open to this fact. And we do see some Holland supporters in this pack as well that can combo with a Retriever as well as a Nidoran. So, and that Nidoran does have the fast evolution. As Davi was saying, it would allow him to get into a faster Nidoqueen. So, we are seeing a Delcatty EX pick here. Davi, how do you feel? You think this would be an interesting pick for him, or are you kind of expecting this?
This is very interesting because Delcatty X is a very hard card to use. It punishes very hard on opponents who draw a lot because the Poké Power is kind of a Hugh style. Each player discard cards until they have 6 cards in their hand. It's a fine power, right? It's not anything crazy. The attack is also very interesting. It's Kingdra's from Legends Awakened attack, but for any energy. It's pretty good, I'd say. I don't know if it combos well with Nidoqueen, but he's keeping fairly open. Having the two Delcatties means he's probably gonna just snap pick the skitties that he sees along the way.
Yeah, very interesting. So I wonder if he's got some sort of plan in mind with this card, or maybe he just happens to like Delcat EX. I don't know how often was it played back in this era. I don't know. I don't remember too much about Delcat EX specifically.
There's one deck that plays Delcatty X. It's called Big Cats. The deck is you discard all of your energy. You have two options then. You can use Electro Reacts to extra energy bomb all of your energy, like all your like four scramble energy or four boost energy, into a normal Delcatty to hit like 120 on a single turn and discard everything after. And you had the setup, the like late game attack of Upstream with the Delcatty X. It's very hard to draft this deck. I think it's possible given that he saw both the Ruby and Sapphire and the EX early. I It's pretty possible for him to get this deck, but it's very hard. Let's keep an eye out. If he yeah, I'd say if he wants to draft that, he has to get the scramble energy because there's not a lot of scramble energy, and he needs like three minimum.
So what is this? So the scramble energy. What is that combo with? Since it can't be attached to EXs, right?
Yeah, it combos with the normal Delcatty. So normal Delcatty does max energy source for 10 times the amount of energy attached to itself. So you discard four scramble energy, then use extra energy bomb on Electro X to attach four scramble energy to Delcatty. So it's hitting like 120.
I see that. I mean, I would be very
Pretty
excited to see
good.
him get into that. It sounds cool.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great deck because the all of the pieces are super important for any other decks. On an eight-player pod, it's super hard to draft this. He can use it like a second package on a Needle Queen deck. It's not bad for it. Maybe only like the Electro doesn't combo well with the Needle Queen, but maybe he wants to have like this option, the secondary option of one-shotting something with the Delcatty and then one-shotting something else with the Delcatty X because you discarded a lot of energy. This is very interesting. I've never thought that someone would try to get into this like this early.
Yeah, I remember last time. The Series Player won last time actually, and we saw some like some really interesting early picks last time. I know he took like Gardevoir EX, and like one of the first few picks that was surprising. So this might be just kind of his way of going about it is getting onto some of these less, I guess, less popular archetypes that maybe people are kind of aren't really on the radar, and then just trying to get the pieces for them as he sees them. So like the Delcatty, maybe he's not really contested for, but he wants to make sure he's definitely not. So I don't know, very interesting. And we see a Blaziken EX pick here. I guess it's a good stage 2 to grab at this point. Could also leave you open to playing the Blaziken later. I don't actually know if there's any other cards I would be that much interested in. What do you think, Davi?
I'm shocked that Blaziken EX got this late on a pack. It's interesting because Blaziken has one of the worst records on this cube. Nobody has really made a good Blaziken deck, but I buffed the line a lot after the last few times it was run, and I think it's on a pretty good spot. This is very interesting to see this Blaziken EX late, and maybe Monsieur's player just wants to change his deck to like a Blaziken deck because the Delcatty package combos really well with Blaziken. I think if you look at this draft right now, I'd say it's a better Blaziken deck than like a Nidoqueen deck. It's interesting to see he's passing the Nidorina. Maybe he wants to focus on the Delta species pre-evolutions to draw cards with Hollow Cast Form, but the Nidorina is such an important part of any Nidoqueen deck. Maybe he's not playing Nidoqueen, right? I'd certainly go for the Nidorina right here because he already saw one, and there's only three of this Nidorina in particular. Maybe four. Let me check that. No, only three. So yeah, maybe I'd go for the Nidorina here if I was on a serious player's seat.
Yeah, it's understandable, especially because like yes, you did already see one, and you don't know if that card would have gotten picked up later on if the pack gets less and less interesting. It's not unlikely someone picks up a stage one like that, especially because the fast evolution works really well with just getting your Pokemon out super quick, great attack. But and Nidoran's interesting, especially because you have more options against Nidoran. And the only reason I guess I could see it is for like you said the Holland's cast form draw, with the Delta species, but it seems a bit too early to know if like you're gonna. I mean, you feel like you're gonna get into more cards like that later. Like it seems a little bit uh preemptive to grab it at this point. I probably would have grabbed the Nidorina as well, just because that tech is really good.
Yeah, and the rest of the pack is not crazy, right? There's
No,
evolution pieces and some spectral energy, so it's probable that someone will get this in the arena. And this is not wheeling anyway, so yeah, he just looking at this and praying that the second one hasn't been picked and that wheels back to him.
I guess if it does wheel to him, it's not too bad then, because uh, you can use Nidorina early to draw cards, and then you have the Nidorina. So it is kind of a gamble here to see if no one has been interested in that Nidorina, which could pay off, but we'll ultimately have to see what happens here. So getting to the next pack, nothing too crazy here, at least I don't think. Davi, of course, correct me if you see something interesting here, but do you think he's gonna go for the Holland last? I'm not sure.
So this is a very important signal. Rocket Sneasel EX is a very weird card to appear in the first pack because someone needs to be on Drag Trode for this card to be good. Because this is one of the best attackers in the cube. It's Dark Ring for 30, plus 10 for each Dark Pokemon in play, and it can use Darkness Energy to buff all its damage. So it has a high attacking potential, but this is a very loud signal. Nobody's playing Drag Trode, so he doesn't fault the trap of picking the. I don't think it's a trap though. I think it's an open archetype. Dragthroat is super open. He could have gotten the Rocket Sneasel to like kind of invest in that, and maybe the Dragonites and the Dark Electros just come around. But he opts to go to the Hollandless. It's better for his deck. He will get like any decent Blaziken deck would not say no to a Hollandless. It's not like a super important card or anything, but I guess he's just on that. He's either on Nidoqueen or the Delcatty Crazy deck or Blaziken. So I think he just scoffed at the idea of playing Dragthroat there. That was a very loud signal. Nobody is playing Dragthroat. Or someone is like five head wheeling the card.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see if they can. Someone else is probably gonna be able to pick up on that signal now because Cecil X is now pretty much a standout card in that pack, and that is going around the table again. So I'm interested to see who ends up with it and if that is a good signal for them to go into the Dark Line. That's something you want to commonly look for in these drafts. Is uh, archetype defining cards are cards that are just like standout picks for those lines, and if they're coming around to you pretty late, then you have a pretty good idea of what the table is thinking, or at least what they're not thinking, I should say. So seeing stuff like the Blaziken EX come around and the Sneasel in this instance is a great sign that hey, those lines are probably going to be open in the future, and if they're not, players might be more speculative to get into them if they're already kind of made up their mind they're not really too interested early. So definitely a good call out there. Something we're gonna have to see who ends up with the Sneasel and if they actually end up going into that Dark Trode archetype. So, Davi, I want to ask too, just because I don't have a lot of experience in this cube. I haven't seen a lot of the decks being built. Is there any big, like, I don't want to say, well, like tier one decks, I guess, that you think people are going to be gravitating towards? I know I talked to Connor about this before the draft, and he said there's like a metagame that's constantly shifting with this cube. So, curious to hear what your thoughts are on that and what you think people are going to be going for.
It's very weird because people play the decks and then they get some conclusions, and the next time that they play they have that information already. So let's say that Connor made a 3-0 Crobat on Eevee's deck last time he played it. I think everyone knows about this deck, the Crobat and Disruption and like spread and being annoying. And I don't think that people will make that deck open. And if they do, they will be prepared to deal with like two Cessation Crystal, three Cessation Crystal, And I think the it's hard to say the stronger decks in this cube because the strongest deck this cube has ever seen was Meganium. It won everything it's played. I had to take the Meganium line out because it was just too strong. And after that, it kind of left a power vacuum. I think the Swampert decks are the most interesting ones, the ones that people value kind of highly, because the Swampert decks are kind of the toolbox decks that you make a swamp, like two Swamperts, you can charge any big EX attacker you want. So I think that will be on people's minds. You either get the BX Pokemon before they get to the Swampert player, or you have some way to deal with like a Lugia EX or a Rayquaza Star. Well, I guess like a Ladia Star would be better for that deck. And also like always the disruption decks, right? You never want to play a full power deck and go against someone with like three Cessation Crystal and have no windstorms. So I think everyone should be thinking about this.
Yeah, it makes me now interested to see what other people have. So we're gonna bounce tabs here, just take a quick peep around the table and see what they're going to. And then when we start pack two, we're gonna go look at Slice Draft and see where he goes from there. So speaking of, let's go right into Slice Draft Pod here. We see Espeon EX, Pokemon Retriever, so some just general setup cards. We do see the Crobat EX pick right there, as well as the Zubat. So I know he's played Crobat EX before, so we could see maybe a repeat. Um, Kind of interesting how this one has coming out. Definitely some good supporters. The Copycat, Celios, and Holland Adventurer. Um, let's go into Vic's draft pod here. So we do see the Dark Guitar, and it looks like Vic is the one who picked up the Dark Sneasel EX. So Vic here able to wheel into the Dark Sneasel. We could definitely see a dark deck coming out from here. Moving forward into JL's draft pod here, kind of a mixed match. We do see the Gardevoir that Davi was talking about earlier with the healing, as well as the Banette EX, which is I think fairly strong, right? Is that the one that does the Shady move?
Yeah, Shadow Chant and Shady Move. This is one of the best attackers in the cube for sure.
Yeah, Banette EX definitely a strong threat. So we could be seeing some more psychic coming from JL here. We also do see a Mareep with a Dark Flappy, so he could get into maybe some spread tactics here. But kind of a lot of Pokemon, not a lot of consistency. So hopefully we see some more of that. We do see the Energy Doll to pick up here from JL. Next over here is Willie Aza. A lot of fighting attackers. We do see the Hariyama. We do see and two of them are Makihita. So probably strongly leading towards the fighting at this moment, as well as a Holland Transceiver, some Holland supporters. So looking this way to be like more fighting oriented here. And we do see the pickup from the Brightness Compassion. We're interested to see if that Hariyama does wheel to Ilyasa here. And then with Sebastian, we are seeing quite a bit of Delta here with the Delta Raichu. But we just see a pickup, Curstone pickup here. So this could be more of a right eggs kind of strategy. I'm not quite sure. He might be contesting Will for some of that. We'll have to see. And then two more here. We have Mike Gibbs. Mike Gibbs has, we do see kind of a mix here. We do see the Ampharos EX with the Dark Flaffy. So I wonder if he's going to be competing with JL here for the lightning support. We also see a few fire grabs here, the Houndoom and the Torchic, but not quite sure which way. We'll have to see where he goes. And then we have Vent on the very end here. We see pretty much two Swamperts here, so it's funny. Vent drafted Straight Water in the Cube League, so Vent definitely has his favorite type here, as we can see. So looking like pretty much into Swampert right now, but that could always change. So ultimately we have to see. And that kind of is just a brief cap of the table here. We're gonna focus back on Connor's draft slight and see where he's going here. So Davi, I remember he played this in Team Challenge and went 3-0 with Crobat Eevees, I think it was. How strong is Crobat? Is a line you think he's probably gonna go for again?
For sure, he's probably gonna go for it again. Corbett is one of just the strongest attackers, early game attackers in this cube. Two energy for either, I guess, 20, 40, 60 damage and confusion, or the best attack on two energies probably. Raider Gem, 30 damage, and it locks either stadiums and items from your opponent next turn. So, like a Crobat strategy, just getting a Curse Stone in play or getting a Desert Runes in play Cessation Crystal to strengthen out the lock, and you probably get yourself some quick wins there. It has kind of a bad late game, and Connor usually uses the Eevees to that advantage. He has the Aspen EX now, which is a perfectly serviceable first pick. It can devolve one of your opponent's Pokemon on the bench, and its attack is also pretty good. It's 60 plus 30 for each trainer card in play on your opponent's side. So if your opponent has a stadium, it's 3 for 90, which in this cube is pretty good. 3 for 90 is pretty decent. And for Connor here, he does have to go against some other players are playing Cessation Crystals and Curse Stones, so I don't think this deck will be as strong as his deck was in Challenge. So he has to go against those and probably get those cards on a more um, direct way. Don't try to wield them, just take them the first time he sees it. And maybe get the secondary attacker because I think we saw one of the Crobats, right? On the first pack. I don't remember actually. I'll go around the table because I think one of the other players picked Crobat Delta already.
Yeah, I know one player had a ton of deltas, so I'm not sure I saw a Crobat in their draft, but I know we saw a Curse Stone get snagged up pretty quickly, so there might be a bit of contention there for those type of cards. Of course, Curse Stone's good in a lot of decks, especially if you have solid build around, so it's not unlikely we see people early taking Curse Stone. I'm sure Connor is aware of that. Um, I do like the Espeon pickup, though. Espeon is such a strong stage 1, just does great attack damage, and the devolve can be so devastating, especially if you are using stuff like Distortion to set up these multi-turn knockouts, or even on just Pokemon like Delcatty with the energy draw. That's like the crutch to a lot of these decks. Setup potential is just I need to have draw every turn. So removing that stuff, especially comboing it with something like an admin, can be very turning the tables on them. So it creates a lot of cool strategies. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more EVs end up in Connor's draft just to flesh out more secondary attackers, as Davi said. But ultimately, we're going to see where he ends up here. So we're going to see this. Okay. A solid D-select there. So we can see the second Professor's Elm training method here. I guess that makes sense. I haven't really seen a lot of other picks that maybe are working for him here. I mean, the Desert Ruins is kind of counterintuitive, I guess, because it would put damage counter on his Crobat EX and Espeon EX. Solid Rage isn't particularly that useful right now. Same with the Energy Root. So I guess at this point, just trying to draft supporters. But yeah, so what kind of partners do you think Crobat EX is just looking for? Just anything with just strong attacks or anything in specific?
I guess spread is his best options of other partners. There's the other the only dark Crobat in this cube. There's only one of them. Spread 10 to everyone and heal itself, or just a snipe 30. It's not great, but it's a decent card for Crobat EX. I guess the best partners for Crobat are just their online. Uh, the Eevees are fine, um, suit for this deck, but they are also very hard to draft. Like those Eevees are some of the strongest picks on the entire draft. I think most of them are like pick one or pick two. It's a travesty to see them go further than that. Uh, Interestingly enough, this Raichu EX is pretty good with Crobat EX. It has power short for two. You can choose one of your opponents, does 30 to that Pokemon, and if it has a power, it's 50. So if you can power short once and then only a single like distortion plus Curse Stone or just two distortions, is getting a knockout on like Delcatty, Magneton, Porygon 2, Macargo, I think it's 70 HP, don't remember if it's 70 or 80. But yeah, this range is a pretty decent card for him, but he's taking a look at that EV. Oh no, he goes for the
He's going
Raichu.
for the
I think
Raichu here.
yeah, this is very good for Connor. Also interesting enough, for those who haven't played on this era, I was talking about how Celios Network was a card for to, like get Pokemon in the deck. Celios Network doesn't get you EXs, so the only card that gets you EXs on the deck like for free is Professor String Method. And Connor seen two of them on his draft and seeing like two Pokemon EX on his draft two, like the two linchpin cards for his deck. Just goes for that Raichu. He knows that any Professor Realms that he gets will get him his attackers, and I think this was very good for Connor.
Yeah, I really do like to pick up here as well, just because he has like the tools to use it. with the two Elms training as you said. So he's next gonna be able to utilize EXs, and it's probably unlikely with 8 people in the draft that Raichu EX comes back to you. So this would be his one shot to get it. It does suck having to go up the Eevee. Do you think he's got good odds of getting another Eevee here? I know you said they're pretty early picks.
Yeah, I guess the evolutions are pretty good first picks, but
Oh, right.
I guess one Eevee he can get. I'd say one Eevee is fine. I guess the second Eevee would be maybe harder to get because there are just so many good cards for EV here. Like Jolteon EX is so strong. Umbreon EX is probably one of the strongest cards in the entire cube, and some decent stackers also. Vaporeon EX is like 40 on second turn with disruption attached to it, so like it's so good for the game pressure. Flareon also a pretty decent mid game attacker with some tanking potential, some one shot potential. Um, I guess one EV is fine for him. He probably gets that. No problem. That EV doesn't wheel for sure. He has to unpack one.
Mm-hmm. It looks like he's got a bit of a deliberation here. Kind of an interesting pack here. Yeah, decisions between quite a different cards. Look at the warp point here. I like this pick. Warp point's interesting because you don't have cards like Lysander or Boss's Orders to directly gust up Pokemon. So warp point can sort of act in that same way, especially if you don't have access to something like POW. Is like when there's something that you cannot take a knockout on or you can't really threaten, you can always use Warp Point to get something out of the active. Also, it's just a nice switch effect here. So I always like seeing Warp Point in a lot of decks just to add that slight edge of mobility.
Yeah, for sure. Warpoint is just one of the best like normal trainer cards for any deck in this cube because it's also kind of a pseudo counter for Cessation Crystal because you take out their Cessation Crystal from the active and you have powers again after that. It's many late game scenarios are resolved by just a war point. Your opponent has like their giant Gardevoir EX on the active that you cannot knock out for any way. So you just war point to knock out something else and win the game. He sees a Dark Crobat and Dark Gobat. Sorry, Dark Gobat is pretty good in this cube. The attack is one grass for 30 anywhere, and you cannot use the attack next turn. So you can like race someone. You can like turn 2 Night Ambush 30 on the bench and turn 3 like Crobat EX and start pinging and attacking the active for not a lot of energy, not a lot of commitment. That's pretty good like attacker in general. And just a card for his line. Um, Goes for multi energy, also pretty good since he has 3 different types of attacking Pokemon here: Espeon, Crobat, and Raichu, all different types. He's for sure using that card in his deck and not passing anything specific that yeah, he doesn't need any other
Right.
cards on this deck. So multi energy just what he wants to see.
Yeah, that Dark Golbat is very strong. I did not realize that was a card. So let's just do 30 damage. As we said, like a lot of stage twos have 120 HP outside of EXs, which are about 150. So, I mean, that's like those turns start to add up. And like we said, it's a slower cube. So you do have a fair amount of turns to make attacks like this, and it combos probably really well into that distortion. So you're able to do 30 and then maybe a damage counter somewhere else the next turn, especially with cards like Espeon EX as well. So it sets up a lot of big brain plays for him. So good grab up there. We are seeing the Windstorm. That's basically Field Blower for anybody who hasn't played this era. So it allows them to discard stadiums and tool cards, which is a good counter for Sensation Crystal or even any annoying stadiums outside of Curse Stone. Are there any other stadiums maybe he's looking out for here?
He has to look out for counters for Desert Ruins because his attackers are all EXs, so this Windstorm is just what he wants to see. There's also a lot of disruptions stadiums in this cube. The reason for 8 Windstorm on the cube, it's because of cards like Tinyako's Hideout or Crystal Beach. Crystal Beach makes all energy that provide 2 or more only provide one. So like double rainbows are useless. Scramble energies useless. Boost energy useless. If the right deck makes that card like put that card into play, it's over. Like there are a lot of decks that cannot deal with that. Like a Swampert deck cannot deal with that. No way. Battle Frontier also pretty good. It shuts down evolved powers from colorless, dark, and metal. So it shuts off like Delcatis, Pidgeots, the Meta Knight deck, the Dragtro deck. It just shuts off so many things. He probably would play. the two Battle Frontier if he saw it. And I think that's it for stadiums. There's other stadiums like a giant stump is a two-sided parallel city, so each player may only have three bench. Not great for him, but maybe he gets one or two to deny EX prizes, just like you would with parallel and Shaman EX. Um, yeah, that's it for the most part. But there's a lot of stadiums if you're counting. There's three. There's Desert Ruins, four Curse Stone, four Crystal Beach, two Battle Frontier. There's a lot of cards. It's not only one of them.
Yeah, so
What about
it's guys. I guess when you can pick up a Windstorm at that point, there wasn't really anything too hard to choose between. So definitely a nice pickup here. We are seeing him fleshing out the Zubat line here. I believe that is his third Zubat, which is very nice here.
you? Yeah, just the solid line there. There's a pretty strong signal in this pack that Double Rainbow is a pretty high important card for a lot of players here and a lot of decks. I mean, it's just player is getting that card probably picks it. I don't know if he's still on Needle Queen or not, but Double Rainbow is one of the best cards for the Needle Queen deck. And just a decent signal here that the players on the right of Connor are not playing like Um, I'd say Ray Eggs, but there is a Ray Egg player there. I don't know why he didn't get the double rainbow. Um, Other decks would be like Queendom or a stage one counter box. Uh, Weak pack here. I guess on the last few packs that there's not gonna be much spice, not much
Yeah,
tea.
so I'm curious to jump over to Mysterious Player and see if he ends up taking. He is taking the double rainbow here. It looks like we see more of a pivot to fire with the second Blaziken EX as well as the Ruby Sapphire Blaziken with the Flare starter. So it looks like he's getting himself a pretty solid line here. 'Cause he also does have the Energy Jaw Delcatty, which combos really well with Blaziken. So Mysterious Player's draft pool is looking pretty nice.
Yeah, this was just a lesson on signals, right? He saw the Blaziken EX as like eighth pick, and that just signals that nobody's playing Blaziken. There's no way that card gets that far, and he knows that the cards just haven't been unpacked. So he picks the Blaziken, stops the signal, cuts the card, and then whenever a Blaziken comes in, he just picks it, no problem.
Yeah, so that's what you want to do. And I like that he didn't hold too closely to his early picks with the Needle Queen. It's really easy to get tunnel vision, especially when you find something like that early, and you could definitely combo into some of the other cards. But right when he saw the Blaziken EX, I had a feeling that he's probably going to pivot because that's just a great sign that, okay, well, this line's open. So that means, especially right now, while players are still deliberating what they want, if they're not taking the Blaziken pieces and he's seeing them, like that's a good opportunity just to jump right into that line. It looks like, I mean, he's got three Blazikens already, so he's pretty much getting everything he needs. So Blaziken EX counts different than Blaziken, right? That he can play multiple Blazikens over the EX, or is there only four Blazikens total?
No, it does count different. So he can play the five full Blaziken on the cube. He could play the three Ruby and Sapphire and the two EXs, which he is on the way to do it.
So I want to jump over to Vic here, but I want to see first what Mysterious Player unpacks in this one first. So we do see a Dark Crowback heading towards the other side of Connor. Um, we see another Curse Stone. We do see a
Ooh.
Strike and Run Dunsparce VS Seeker. What do you think? What do you think the pick is? Maybe the rare candy? I'm not sure.
Mm, The rare candy is pretty good here, but I'm not sure also. Maybe he values the Magneton. You don't really want Magneton in this deck because Blaziken needs your fire energy on the discard. But even then, having a Magneton in the deck is not bad even for weakness. Magneton's deck's pretty good. It's 10 times each energy in play. So against like a Swampert deck, you have a pretty good attacker for weakness. The VS Seekers is also a decent card. You only have what one Rocket Admin. That's like one and a half Rocket Admin right there. Like Dunsparce would be fine. Yeah, he goes for the VS Seeker. It's just so good for any deck, right? That you would never not play VS Seeker in anything. So we should go to Vixen now.
All right, so it looks like we are looking at VIX pack. Just realized I was muted for that time. Apologies. So we are seeing quite a bit of I mean trainer cards, which is great, but now we're seeing not seeing a whole lot of line stuff come through here. Maybe it just hasn't unpacked it yet. So you just have just the Dark Tyranitar and the Rocket Season, which isn't bad. We are seeing some good signals for Dark being open. So we're hoping to see maybe a little bit more here, and we're seeing the Steven's advice here. I mean, that is one of the best supporters in Cube. So Davi, do you think that was just like the right pick here? Anything else you would have maybe gravitated towards?
He does see two Powell. He would like oh no, he does have a Powell, so no, it's Stevens here. It's just such a strong card. He never wants to pass on that Steven. Maybe if his Holland suit was better equipped for this Holland transceiver, but I think you never pass on Steven's advice when your pack is kind of mediocre, right? It's still even if you have 12 Steven's advice in a cube, it's still one of the best cards in any deck ever. So yeah, this is for sure the red pick right here. Scott is also a pretty good card. When you're playing those decks that get really punished by any stadium cards, you really need a way to get stadiums. So Scott is usually pretty good in this lower power level when you don't need to use like a super aggressive supporter every turn. You can just take a turn off, search for your stadium, go slow. Um, we see him here debating. This Curstone is pretty good in his deck or on Dark Tyranitar. The Tyranitars don't have powers, so Curstone just perfect on this deck. The usually you don't use the Ampharos with powers too, so Curstone is just very good here. Maybe thinking about the Pupitar, not wanting to leave the signal open for Tyranitar, but yeah, just it's Curstone, right?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
don't
Curse
really
Stone,
think about
you only get so many opportunities to take Curse Stone here. So if you think it's going to be valuable in your deck, I definitely could definitely agree passing the Dark Pupitar because even if it doesn't wheel, I mean, you already have a pretty good indication target's open, but if it doesn't wheel, that's a really good signal as well that you should get out of this line. But as there's, I mean, it's up against some pretty other decent cards here, so it's pretty good odds he wheels it back. But I definitely agree with the Curse Stone pickup here.
he does have one Curstone, so two Curstones in this deck is pretty good. His deck is going to be very strong if he gets the rest of the line in the correct Ampharos, the Dark Ampharos for starter.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it can be difficult to also pass those important stage ones, but you do have to sometimes just hope and pray that they come back, and you can generally figure out if they're going to or not just by basing on what other people have been passing you. So, based on when you got into that Dark Pupitar, you might have a pretty good read that that's also going to be pretty easy to wheel, but we'll ultimately have to see. You never know.
Yeah, on this pack there's not a lot of strong cards. I don't know if he has a Windstorm already, but his deck is one that doesn't really need Windstorm, I'd say. The only stadium that really punishes this deck is, I guess, Crystal Beach. But you already have so many stadiums that you're not really worried about that. Sensation Crystal is annoying, but you usually just knock stuff out on the active and don't care about the lock. Because the P-Tars are just so powerful with just 3 energy attachments doing so much damage. He's really thinking about this. The Castaway is also decent, but not really on this deck where you don't want to play normal energy. You basically just play special energy. You play four of the darks, I guess one or two fightings that those would be like tech energies. A lot of double rainbows and scrambles and Holland's magnetons and electrodes for that. He also doesn't have a lot of setup basics, so maybe he's thinking about this dunce parts. Oh, yep,
Yep,
that's it.
that looks like to be what he's going for here. How good are the Master Balls in this cube? It's one of the few item search cards that we have available.
I'd say not great. There are decks that really want them. So let's say Connor's deck. He wants to be a super aggressive, super fast turn 2 attacker, turn 3 attacker. Maybe a Hariyama deck also needs the aggression there. But those decks need a lot, don't have a lot of Pokemon, and the odds of Master Ball hitting them are not that high. Master Ball is kind of a bait in this cube, I'd say. It's not a card that you pick highly, so people usually are worried that they won't search for Pokemon on items. That's just a reality. That's not like a problem on your deck. And Master Ball is usually a late pick card. You would for sure prefer Cedo's Network over Master Ball in this cube.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes looking at the top 7 seems better than it actually is, but if it doesn't really net you the Pokemon you're looking for, you can't evolve with the Pokemon you grab, it can be kind of a waste. And not a bad card, I guess you get into it late, but not a card you want to waste other decisions for. So definitely agree with the Dunsparce pick here. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on that card. We're seeing the Hariyama EX, maybe a hate draft we're seeing here. I know Hariyama has that Pokebite prevents other stands getting played, and if he's thinking about playing Dark, he definitely does not want to face against strong fighting Pokemon. So, what are your thoughts in here? Do you think this is more of a hate draft, or do you think he maybe is actually considering playing this?
This is both, I'd say. Maybe he moves to a deck that doesn't use Ampharos and just is super hard into like the fighting Dark Tyranitar. Not the one that he has right now, the other one with Sand Damage, which spreads to the bench. With two Curse Stone in his pile, I'd say this Hariyama is more into play than into hate. This is super playable, which is super sad because there is another Hariyama player that is trying to wield this and will get the grave notice that that's not gonna go back to him. It's probably better in this deck, honestly, with two curse stones. Like a turn two Hariyama curse stone is just so hard to deal with. I don't know how any other decks would deal with that. But I don't know if he will play that as a main strategy. Maybe as he's keeping on the back burner there, just maybe, right?
Yeah, he also did pick up a Makihita a few picks ago, so he does have a way to evolve into it. So it's not a bad pickup at all. And like you
Hmm.
said, it kind of was super well with Curse Stone, just because you can't, without something like Warp Point, you have a really hard time bouncing it. So that can be something that's super annoying, as well as like knockoff. Like turn two knockoff of Curse Stone could just be like one of the most annoying things to deal with because your Pokemon are taking, you have abilities in play, or Pokeparts in play, you're taking extra damage there, and he's taking cards out of your opponent's hand. Especially in a slower cube like that, if you hit the right cards, could just totally throw someone off.
For sure. Yeah, Hariyama's pretty good attacker on the early turns. You can make like some nasty control decks and just lock decks with Hariyama Muck and those EX. Oh, seeing the Muck here. Those decks that they kind of want your opponent to not play slow. You kind of force them. You knock out this Hariyama or else you're not playing the game. And when they do, they're screwed. You have scramble energies, you have locks, you have pals, you have rocket admins. I don't know if anyone's making that type of deck here. From the signals that I see, like there was the one pack with two pals in it, and this Mach EX on pick 7. I'd say no. I guess the Hariyama going decently late for that deck also doesn't work for that deck to be drafted this time. Um, don't know if this is the deck for that. He doesn't have any pals. He has two Rockets admin is pretty good. VS Seeker is also pretty good. Oh, he has one pal. Maybe he can do it. Kind of a lock strategy instead of like the pure spread and beat down with the Tyranitars. We'll just have to see that. There's still a lot of cards left. He can build whatever he wants with this draft. Honestly.
Yeah, I haven't seen what other people. Well, haven't looked around the table for the second pack. Really, put people unpack there, but we haven't really seen a ton of dark or Tyranitar pieces. I don't think gone around yet, unless people snagged them super early, which would make a ton of sense because like either people didn't see the dark Seal being good, or they just weren't interested in it at the time. So it might just be the thing where he hasn't seen the dark transfer pieces yet to know for sure if that line is open. So maybe he's just keeping, he's got a speculative Hariyama here that is good in what he's got in his draft pool. So he might just be kind of open between the two. I mean the Hariyama EX could definitely build around it pretty strongly here, but if he didn't see some dark pieces, we could see a pivot.
For sure. Yeah. We see this pack. Like this is a crazy pack. This is pick 8. We see a Gardevoir EX and a Latias Star. So Latias Star is one of the best attackers for either the Blaziken deck, the Swampert deck, and kinda the Gardevoir deck can kinda use it. I don't know if it would. I'd say so. It can use either Latios or Latias, but obviously nobody's on Gardevoir. We see the best attacker on that line there, just sitting on pick 8. Maybe someone gets the signal, but I think it's kind of too late to move on that. Seeing the Latias in the same pack, I I wouldn't do it. It's kind of too late. You already have something going on to stick to that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm with you.
Celio's getting picked here over two of the best attackers. It's funny. Like it's correct pick for sure, right? There's no way you get some of any of those cards. Gardevoir is actually a good matchup for Dark Tyranitar as it has resistance to Psychic. So you want that card to pass to someone to get the signal and play that.
Yeah, that's another important thing to drafting is you don't want to draft out your good matchups here. So, like you said, RDX would be a great a deck to go up against if you're playing the dark deck. So you want to make sure that line stays nice and open, that someone is able to get into that line, assuming you're also able to get into your dark stuff here. But we also haven't seen many like Larvitars and Pupitars coming around. So I'm gonna bet those haven't been unpacked yet. It's be very rare to see those cards getting picked so early. So interesting here. I wonder like if hopefully the next pack brings some stronger cards. Of course, 52 picks left, so it's not like we're done with this draft necessarily. But the packs are going to start winding down here soon. Vic is probably interested in seeing some of his line.
Only a single Arbiter, single Pupitar is so low for now. But I think this is only luck, right? There's gonna be just a
Mm-hmm.
pack with two Arbiters in it, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, glad those are there. I'm just picking one, willing the other, no problem."
Now he
He
did.
gets the Scramble here, which is pretty good with Dark Tyranitar decks. Getting that spinning tail done with on a single attachment is just crazy to think about. You do have to get something knocked out to for that to work. Usually that's where the big EXs that you have to deal with come to play, like this Hariyama, for example. I think this is pretty good. If he gets more of those scramble energies, I'd say this is a pretty good like Hariyama Tyranitar deck, which is not really one of the archetypes. But the cool part about this cube is that you can just say screw the archetypes and I'm playing something else and go well anyway. So maybe he does that. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's just depending on like what cards comes his way. I am just interested to see what the packs are gonna look like from here, just because without unpacking a ton of evolving basics, like well, eventually they're gonna have to come through here. Okay, there's a Larvitar here. I thought we also
Yeah.
saw a Pupitar come through here at some point. Was that this pack or the?
Yeah. I think it's maybe one or two from now. I'm pretty sure those are wheeling. I'm not sure that anyone is getting dark pupitars really highly on this cube. So yeah, I think he's banking on that wheel for now. I'm pretty sure it hasn't passed yet.
I have seen a lot of these like rockets or like rockets Entei, rocket Moltres. Like, are those cards like splashable and like maybe like the fire decks or what? Like, I don't see those going around too much. You think maybe those are important in some lines here?
So those are in the cube for two reasons. They are really good on a drag troll deck that has a lot of rainbow energies. So you have all these dark Pokemon that can abuse darkness energy, our energy, and your synergies with Rocket's Pokemon in general. And you can move the energies around and just have a lot of attacker, different kinds of attackers. And like the Zentei, for example, is just a weaker Blaziken EX. It can snipe 60 on the bench. But it's a basic, right? It's still pretty good. And for 3 energy, not 4. That's a pretty good attack on Blaziken decks also. So they are there for two reasons: the Dark Rainbow deck and their own decks, right? Like One Pine Pope on the Cube League played a Zapdos Rocket Zapdos EX focus deck that I've never seen like anybody playing with that card, focusing on that card, and his deck was pretty good actually. So they there can be some interesting stuff. I've seen like Rocket's Motors also do some work on this cube before, so um they are kind of hard to play around. It's the type of card that you want to unpack late. You don't really want to see early because you need to know what you're playing before picking them. So yeah, every time they get open early like this is kind of awkward. On the late game, you're just like, oh, that card passed. That's a shame. And when you saw it, you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm just passing this. I don't know if I'm playing that.
Right,
Uh, it's just a weird thing of the Sneasel was the same, right? The Sneasel is
right.
just one of the best players. And you see the Rockets Moltres now. I don't think you picked this Moltres. Maybe the Swoop does have like the Jirachi here. That was yeah. The Swoop is pretty good with Jirachis and Dunsparces. He for sure wants to play
Swoop's so good
Super
with
Cube.
Dunsparce as well because usually the problem with Dunsparce is that you have to, you spend an energy to use the strike and run, but then this allows you to swoop into like another basic that you can evolve into, so you're like pretty much benefiting from that attachment even more.
Yeah, swoop on this cube is pretty good. You can swoop to EX, but usually you don't need to. The Jirachis are also decent attackers in this cube. Mind Bend on the Jirachi from Hidden Legends, that's a dual type. It's Metal and Psychic. So that's a pretty good option to deal with like Crobats or like fast Crobats or fast Haryamas. You just attach twice to Jirachi and bonk them in the head for weakness, for 2 energy. So soup, yeah, we see another soup here. A soup and a Pupitar. That's also interesting. What does he get here?
If I had to guess, see, I feel like we're gonna say Pupitar. He's gonna take swoop, but I would take Pupitar. Yep, what did I say? He's gonna take the swoop.
Of course,
But
right?
I guess he's got. Never mind. Looking at his pot here, he's got 3 Pupitars. He only can play 4, so swoop does seem a lot stronger here. Um, for some reason,
Oh
I
yeah,
thought
for
he
sure.
only had 2, but
Yeah, me
uh,
too. I was looking for those Pupitars or Dark types that are fighting. Yeah. So yeah, that was the correct pick.
yeah.
I have something to say about this Macargo. This Macargo is so good. I don't know why people don't play this. I think the deck that wants to play this Macargo is kind of a counter box style deck, and it's kind of hard to draft. You kind of have to open the right cards in the right times. This is a two typed Marcargo that hits 70 on the axis for 2 energy. That's 140 on a lot of weaknesses because this is fighting and fire. This is a pretty good attacker in general in any deck. You're hitting like Meta Knight for weakness also, right? You're not one-shotting them, but with a Scramble Energy and like Curse on or two, you're getting there. That card is so good, and since I made this cube, nobody has ever played that. So I'm pretty sad about it.
Maybe
We're
now that they hear the call out, they'll be a little more interested in that.
for sure.
I would like to go around the table again. I know we're like halfway through the draft and just see where people are at. So we can just start from the right. So we'll start with JL right next to Vic. JL has more psychic, so I guess we're leaning pretty closely into that. Um, as you see, the 3 Gardevoirs, you did pick up the Gardevoir EX. So we are seeing a pretty much a strong psychic presence here, as well as some of the nets as well. We do see the Metagross from I think the Axis with the super connectivity, searching your discard pile for a
Yeah,
metal or psychic. But really, I think it's the Psy Shadow and the EX that really make this, as well as he does have the Heal Dance, so which is pretty nice.
and the Latios EX, which is a pretty good attacker in this deck.
Oh yeah, so yeah, looking really good on JL's side
Latios Star,
here.
sorry, Latios Star.
Yeah, so looking really good on JL's side. Moving over to Willie Aza, we are seeing kind of a mix here with some executes from Delta. We are seeing a few Hariyamas here. We did see those before, as well as some more lightning. The Dark Electro, a lot of Deltas. We're seeing a lot of Deltas, so maybe he's thinking right eggs. Not quite sure.
Um, I think he's also trying to like trade his deck into the Meta Knight. He does have one Dragon Knight and one Meta Gross Delta. He does need like the rest of the line. He needs the three Magna, the Metagross, or assist line doesn't work. So let's see if he does that.
Yeah, the Metagross with Delta control.
Yeah, the star of the Meta Knight deck.
We do see actually in this pack some interesting cards for a lot of lines we've already seen. We do see another Hariyama with the commanding aura Pokebody that we've seen and can't let you play other stadium cards. We also see the Blaziken with Firestarter that Mysterious Player has been interested. He's been playing. He got a lot of fire in his draft. We see 2 Golbats that I mean they're very okay. We know Connor is very much leaning into that Golbat line, and we do see a Dark Tyranitar that Vic might be interested in. Although we see 2 cards maybe Vic is interested in. He's got the Hariyama X and the Dark Tyranitar. Maybe he leans in Dark Tyranitar here. We'll ultimately have to see. That's going to work its way to the left, so he'll actually have access to it pretty soon. Um,
Mhm.
kind of moving forward here in Sebastian's pool, we are seeing quite a bit of Raichu here. We're seeing I don't know some interesting um, a lot of supporters and a lot of stadiums. Do you see anything like leaning towards the line here? What he's looking for?
I think he tried to wheel one of the Executor Delta, but Willie got one. If I'm pretty sure. So he's out of the. I wouldn't say out of that line. He can play like a 2-2 line. He does get a curse stone here. He has a cessation crystal. That's it. Yeah, he needs to get more of those. We know that Connor has two curse stone and he has one. No, it's not Connor. It's I think Vic has two curse stone. Yeah, someone has two curse stone. So there's only one curse stone left. So he needs to get that. And some are attackers here. He does want to play Reags from I can see, but I don't know if the line's open because Wheelie was getting some of those, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought I was seeing here. Between him and Willie, we're both fighting for. Um,
The executors. Yeah.
we do see a lot of heavy deltas from Willie as well, so it would sort of make sense, right? He does have one of the He has two. He's one executor. Willie does. So
I think there's three or four in the cube. There's four in the cube. So yeah,
okay.
both can play two twos. So I guess that's fine.
So hopefully Sebastian and Willie don't end up splitting the right down the middle. That would be kind of
Yeah.
unfortunate here. But ultimately we'll have to see here. We're seeing a Via Seeker pick up here. I mean, it's a good pick when you're still early, but I'm really curious to see where the deltas end up falling here. So we're gonna bounce over
Yeah.
to Mike Gibbs's here. Looks like we see a ton of Ampharos here with the Ampharos EX as well as the energy connectivity Ampharos. So some spread. We did see a lot of Mareeps, kind of fleshing out the line.
Hmm. This is
See,
interesting. I think he's trying to go for a rock lock deck. He has one of the dark tornadoes with 10 damage, and he opens the dark Ampharos, dark and simple
wow.
Ampharos, which is like the perfect partner for that card, and he goes for it. Yep. He doesn't have many of the payoffs for that though, because the Tyranitar line is being split with I think Willie was playing that, right? That's kind of a bummer for both of them. They won't be able to get like the full line, play the full thing. He also has one ATM rock, which is one of the most important cards in this deck. They evolve your entire opponent's board, and when you have a Dark Ampharos and a Dark Tyranitar, just spreading damage every time they do something, and kind of like the Ampharos EX also does that. It's pretty good. He probably wants to see more of those ATM rocks on the future.
Yeah, also interesting to note. Let me just double check to make sure this is right. He Mike has 3 Holland transceivers, but the only
Hmm.
Holland supporter he has is scientist.
Oh,
So
I guess he's banking, right? He's just
yeah,
hoping that he gets one of each in the future and
it's not
kind of
like
gets
it's
this.
that difficult, but it's just interesting to note here. So he's hoping to see something soon. We also do see the Metagross that Sebastian is probably looking for here with the Meta Knight deck. So hopefully that doesn't get snapped up. It doesn't. Well, I would be kind of surprised to see it get picked, I guess.
Mike's probably getting the Celia. I don't know. The Rocket's hideout is also pretty good. He needs counter stadiums for stuff in general, and that gives more HP to the Dark Tyranitar with it's usually his main attacker. Yeah, Celios is fine also. Then no problem with a Celios or two. He does have two, so eh, it's fine. It's alright. He's gonna be alright.
So I would like to take to finish out this trip we're making here. We're gonna take a trip. This is Ven's draft here, and we are seeing a lot more Swampert. No surprises
Yep.
there. We do see a Porygon too pick up as well with the backup. It's just think about Octillery, but it can draw an extra card. So some more draw Pokemon in this pool here. I want to see how many trainers. We do see 2 admin and Steven's advice. Um,
Versus Seeker.
versus Seeker, which is great. I'm not seeing a ton of search supporters here. I see Acelios Network, Copycat. Um,
Yeah, not a lot in general. He's probably
so
banking on those wheeling on
he's
those late packs, or maybe first picking them.
I mean picking up. He's picking up the Lynette's Nets search here. Um, kind of an interesting pick here. I wonder if there's a different type that he's throwing in here because Lynette can only search basics of different types. So I would almost think the
Yeah.
Great Ball would make more sense here. Just a basic search.
I don't know because his deck's kind of weird. If you look around, there's two Flygon Delta there, so he probably has the secondary plan of getting some Trapinches and Flygons and some Delta Pokemon. Which something that's really sad for Vent is that there's a lot of good attackers to put in this deck. There's Lugia X, Lati, oh, both Latios and Latias Star, but all of those Pokemon are already picked by someone else. He only has the Mewstar as like a super strong basic Pokemon attacker, and that makes it a bit weak in comparison with what it can be. But he still has some decent attackers. The Swampert EX is pretty good. He's probably getting the second one also. 'Cause it's a pretty low priority card in general for non-Swampert decks. And I'm very interested about this Flygon Delta. He has two of them. That can be coincidence, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I did not see when those Flygons got passed around. I feel like I've seen one through the packs in the previous one, so I'm wondering if he took them early and if there's a strategy that maybe plays around it. Trying to think if it. So it's what Swampert is weak to lightning, or is it weak to?
The EX is weak to grass. Yeah, and the normal one is weak to lightning.
So it is resistant to lightning, which is a step up. But I mean, the attack does. I'm trying to think if they have anything that's like very that needs a lot of energy in play.
Goribus needs a lot of energy in play, but not this one. Interestingly enough, it's the other Goribus. So, yeah, he's probably playing a Swampert deck and just got the Flygons right. He just cut the line there. Um, don't think he's playing. Just letting those there, just to remind him that he has them. Yeah, if I had to guess, he's not playing the Flygon line. Maybe looking for a miraculous. Uh, I forgot the term when you change decks in the middle of the draft.
Oh, just like a pivot.
Yeah, pivot. Yes, miraculous pivot into like
Yeah,
Flygon EX into Flygon into Delcatty into like some crazy shenanigans.
which could happen. You never know. We see a
Sure.
lot of the Delcatties getting snatched up by a mysterious player here, so
Yeah.
kind of hard to say if you get into those. He's going for the Magnemite here over the Marshtomp. He only has one Marshtomp in his draft, so I'm not sure if he's maybe just thinking this is like do or die with these Magnemites, or I'm not sure. Maybe he thinks the Marshtomp will wheel.
Mm, I
This
guess the Marshtomp is an easier wheel than Magnemite, right? So
perhaps, but
he has one of the Magneton's pretty good in this deck also for the same reasons as being pretty good on the Blaziken deck. Is a pretty decent attacker for just anything in general. Getting the lightning weakness also. I don't remember what decks are lightning weak, but there's probably something.
that Eevee still in the pack is interesting as well. Um, that is going to be working its way towards the left. I know we saw Connor was in need of some EVs beforehand. I guess we should finish checking in with the other two players here. With let's go with Mysterious Player finishing out the top end of the table here. And I'm very surprised to see a lot of Blaziken ending up in his pool.
I look at this.
We did see him pick up an Invitation Nidoqueen with the Revenge attack. A lot of like Vespiquen does 10 more damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile.
Yeah,
Um,
max of 90 hit there. It's pretty good in this era. Like I'd say 3 for 80 is pretty good. Like 3 for 90 is very good. Colorless even. Pretty easy to attach with the Blazikens there. He also has the Rayquaza EX, one of the best attackers for this deck. I think he got it pretty early, if I remember correctly. I don't remember actually. But the Choo-Choo split on the Blaziken EX, like this is a pretty solid Blaziken deck.
yeah, it looks like he's got pretty much. I mean, he got on the fire pretty early once he saw it was open, so it makes sense. He was able to pretty much try to get into whatever fire cards came his way. Which is really what it be pretty much in any draft is, especially when you know your line's open, you can just basically play around the fact that no one really cares about your line, so you can make even stronger picks, as opposed to needing certain cards. Like he can take cards pretty freely. Um, Although I guess he's also hoping this Combustion comes back. I guess or assuming he's gonna get into other ones. Just think that's pretty
Yeah,
fair.
right. Does he have any rare? He doesn't have rare candy. That's kind of a worry, but I
Yeah,
think he just Master Ball's not great in this deck, so I get the Combuskin there for sure.
that's where I
Maybe
was
it's a
leaning
good old.
to.
Yeah, maybe I should lower the Master Ball count as people are getting some trapped there. Yeah, there's six Master Ball in the cube because some decks really want them, but yeah, he got a little baited there by the item search, which is not guaranteed.
Yeah, we do see a Torchic pick here. I guess that would be his fourth Torchic. Um,
Yep.
are there
So
are
you never need to
there six in the cube or eight?
eight.
I almost wonder if the low pressure stadium would have been good for him here, just allowing him to retreat his fire Pokemon for less. Well, just having a good counter stadium.
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't have any stadium, so I'd for sure snap pick that high pressure system.
I would
Just
probably
as a counter stadium, like I guess he does get the Crystal Beach here, which is also pretty good in this deck.
yeah.
But his deck just gets destroyed, but like Desert Ruins and Curse Stone, he needs counter stadiums.
Especially since your Blaziken also accelerates to the bench, so you want that mobility in this deck to be able to pivot between maybe a other attacker like Blaziken EX going into something else, or play something like Switch, throw up something with free retreat because of the high pressure system, and then use your acceleration with the Blaziken. I don't know. There's lots of things you want. You want mobility. I feel like in a deck like this, so I could have definitely seen it.
Yeah,
Especially like right now, he's getting the Torchic for free. There's 8 basics, and you're that confident your line's open. I don't know. I could justify just maybe just passing the Torchic at this point and just getting your some good stadiums. Just knowing that you only can play 4 Torchics, so worst case scenario, someone snapping up your Torchics seems kind of unlikely. But I mean,
yeah.
well,
hmm
Crystal Bee is a good pickup though. So looks like he's getting at least some stadiums. So what do you think? Maybe from this pack, he's taking the Cyclone Energy. I'm not quite sure.
Mm, he may play the Zapdos EX. He already has um the Rayquaza EX that wants Lightning Energy. And the Zapdos EX is pretty good. I don't think it's actually I don't think it's that good in a deck where you don't use Darkness Energy to use the Darkness Guard Pokebody. I guess the Houndour just kind of trying to cut the Houndoom line. There's only three Houndour, so maybe someone's trying to five head wield the Houndour, and you just got that. That's pretty alright. Um, I'd probably pick a Clamperl right here because he's super afraid of Garbus. Like Garbus just destroys his deck, and you don't want to see any of those.
Yeah, I don't think anything else is really that strong in his draft pool. So I could be with you. Definitely taking here. I choose Slugma anyway, so I'd probably just take out Clan Pearl. Hate draft here. Um, so that is what we've seen. I guess we haven't checked in with Slight yet, so I would like to jump over to his tab. Um, which you do see him deliberately ignoring the 2 Golbats because he has 3 Dark Golbats in his pod and his um
Super funny. Ignore your line, doesn't matter.
yeah, he does not care about those Golbats one bit. Um and we are gonna see so it is interesting. I guess we could see Vent actually get the Marshtomp to come back. Mysterious Player does not take the if he took the Clan Pearl like he did last time, which could make
hmm
sense. So I think they could very well go back to the Marshtomp. Kind of lucky. Um but
Yeah, he's too far for that. Connor is the second player, and Vint is like way over there, and the eighth player, so that's not actually getting there. But
yeah, either way.
he,
Um let's see what else Connor's picked up here. So
oh, Connor has a Pidgeot from Hard Gold, from not Hard Gold, Fire Red and Leaf Green. One of the like probably the single strongest pick in the entire cube. I think we played the team show on December of 2020, and Pidgeot got a record of 12, no, 11 and 4. It won 11 of their 15 games and lost only 4. This is one of the strongest cards in the cube. It's on the top of the cutting list for sure because it's so strong. Um, th- I don't think he was planning on that, but it's just one of the things. You open the Pidgeot, you get the Pidgeot. You don't think about it. You either take that away if you're playing a lock deck, or your deck is just so strong with that card. Any other deck.
yeah, Quick Search is just such a strong Poke Power. I'm just getting any card. I think it's getting any card from your deck every turn, and it just gives you the ultimate counterplay. It gives you the best setup. And Clutch actually is not a bad attack. The 40 damage can be setting up damage for next turn. If your opponent doesn't have access to switch, forcing them not being able to retreat. It's also very strong. So not to mention for retreat, like I mean, what more do you really need in this in this card? This card is just one powerhouse.
Yeah, that is just so strong. It's a pretty decent attacker. I would say like some of the Needle Queen decks, like you have to sit sometimes on like a toxic. You toxic someone, then you retreat into clutch. You clutch someone once or twice, take the knockoff of the toxic, let your Pidgeot get knocked out because you're preparing just some strong Pokemon on the bench. And yeah, that's a pretty good attacker for Connor also to maybe power up the Daspion, that Raichu, while you just clutch something in the active.
Right. So I think we followed Mysterious Player, Slight Vic, and have we followed JL?
Let's see here. I don't know. We have not.
Yeah, so let's go over in JL's tab. I know JL
Oh my
was.
god, look at this pack. This is Connor's worst nightmare. There's a Crobat Delta and a Flareon EX on the same pack.
Oh yeah, so both cards kind of looking for. They're working their way on the opposite side of the table. So that
Yeah,
is
I
going
think
to get.
Flareon's not getting there. No way that Flareon's getting there. But the Crobat may. I think it is. People
Acrobat
are just
was
gonna
pretty
get.
open, especially with two Golbats in one pack. So
Oh yeah, maybe someone. But there's just so strong cards in this pack. Like Mentor is there, Macargo, Rare Candy,
mhm.
Pow, Scramble Desert Rings. I think it gets there.
Yeah.
Like not by much. It does get there, probably. And something interesting here. JL is playing a Psychic deck, and he sees this Gorbis with Mystic Water. Does 20 damage plus 10 more damage for each Psychic Energy in play. That's a pretty interesting Pokemon there because it's a water Pokemon that uses Psychic Energy on its attack. It's pretty good because this metagame has a lot of Rainbow Energy, and they all provide Psychic Energy. So if your opponent's playing like, let's say the Tyranitar deck that I think Wheelie or Sebastian was playing, they have a lot of double rainbows and scramble energies, so they are powering up your Gorbis for you. And this also is a pretty decent attacker for like Blaziken matchups, and I think it's the only water weak Pokemon in the cube. So it's interesting to see that card pass because I don't think he kind of understood the magnitude of that attack. It's like a 20 plus 10 attack, right? It can't be that good. It is. It is that good.
So again, the second opportunity to take the card, but I mean, looks like he's gonna go for the Holland Scientist instead for the consistent draw supporters. Here we actually.
I say, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was just saying we do see the Rayquaza star in there as well, which kind of not in his deck, but it's it's kind of one card you definitely look at heavily if you have the means to play it. But what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, someone said in the chat that the decent part of the 11-4 record for Pidgeot was we were testing different rules for our team showdown, and we kind of tested on the wrong cube because you had more draws on your first turn because of the rule set that we were using. So Pidgeot was completely broken the rule set. I'd say that that doesn't change a lot of the matches I saw really. I'd say that sure some matches were won because of that, but even then I'd say that Pidgeot would maintain like a 70% win record if the we were using um a normal rule set for turn one like we
So
use
you
now.
and 50. That is you draw like what? It's a bigger hand, right? Is it
So you draw
13?
yeah, you draw 13 cards and choose six to be your prizes. So you have a lot of more
Mm,
out to get like turn one Pidgeot, which is Pidgey Rare Candy Pidgeot, which is insane to think about.
makes sense. So you have a lot easier time figuring out your starting hand and getting into your consistency faster. Makes sense. Um,
Hmm.
so how do you feel about where JL's draft is going here? We did see all like he's got a pretty decent spread of all of the Psychic cards. Any other cards you'd like him to see other than the Gorbise, which is I think a sneaky pick that maybe people won't see. Just because you don't think about Rainbow Energy being that big of a presence until you're actually playing your games.
Yeah, for sure his main deck here is a Gardevoir like base. He has only one Gardevoir EX. I don't remember if he was wheeling that one when we are talking about like the crazy Gardevoir in the pack. I think he got the Latios Star maybe from that pack. I don't remember. Uh, if he sees one more Gardevoir EX, his deck's pretty good already. He has a Delcatty to go with that. Does have a Magneton, so that's just a deck right there. Magneton, Gardevoir, Delcatty. It's probably good enough. He has a Latios Star to get in the strategy. He needs a lot of Holmes Pokemon to. Oh, thank you. He needs a lot of Holmes Pokemon to uh, get that ball rolling. He only has two right now, Holmes Magneton and Holmes Transform. He'd probably go highly on some other cards. This is a pretty decent in general deck. He also has a Metagross from Deoxys, which has super connectivity to attach one more psychic energy to your active every turn. He can make like a super fast, crazy strong giant Gardevoir EX deck, which I'm not sure if it's. Mm, I think it's good enough in this cube, like in this environment. I mean, he also has like some other interesting cards, like Latias EX Delta is in his deck. He can fellow attach extra energy on the early game to the Latias, and then later just use that energy to power up Psystorm on Gardevoir EX, or just attack with the Latias is also pretty decent. In general, like two rare candies, and a less than great supporter line. I think he has to focus on the supporter line and just get the Gardevoir deck rolling because that's probably good enough to get like one win or two.
Yeah, for sure. I did take a look around, and I have not seen the other Gardevoir EX in anyone else's pools. There's two, right?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect then. If he gets the second Gardevoir, his deck is so good.
We do see another Delta Control Metagross heading towards Willie. I don't remember if it was him or Sebastian that needed it.
The Metagross and the Dragonite are side by side. This is
It's
terrible.
Meta Knight the pack.
Yeah, you love to see it, but you don't actually. Maybe you can wheel one of down.
Maybe if you're having a good day.
Hard. Yeah, if you're having a perfect like if it was 6-person draft, then sure you could. And an 8-person draft with like how many cards are in this pack?
Although I feel like we saw a Dragonite come around the table earlier in this maybe a pack ago.
Maybe he can. I'll take an eye. I'll take a look out for that. Um, Meanwhile, we don't see many good cards for GL's deck in general. He can get like the researcher. It's not. He doesn't have any great Delta Pokemon. He does have a Nido Queen Delta. Could use in his deck to pad out the consistency and as a decent attacker in the late game. But in general, like I guess Mr. Stone's project is not a bad pick either. Just you already are playing a Delcatty deck, so that card is could be worse. It's the type of deck that you would play this card in. So
And Mr. Stone's project that lets him get two basic energies to his hand from his deck or discard pile.
yeah, from either deck or discard pile. Yeah.
Okay, so it synergizes well with something like energy draw.
hmm
So it looks like Willie is the one with Dark Dragonite in his pool, or the Dragonite Delta. So, and that is where that ended up at. That pack was
He's probably
faster.
looking at this pack and going like, "Oh, really?"
I'm gonna go over to Willie just really quick. I just want to see which card he's probably deliberating between the two.
Yeah,
um,
for sure. He has a pretty good setup for this deck to work. Oh, he also has a Dark Dragonite and two Dark Electro. He may be playing Dragtrode and Meta Knight in the same deck. This is crazy.
I missed the Dark Dragonite. That is interesting. He got four Dark Dragonite in his pool here.
Like for that deck, a Raikou EX would also be really good because it uses both the lightnings and the darks. And look at the pack; it's there,
He's right there.
looking at him.
Just take it. Yeah. I mean,
Oh
definitely. I guess I get why this would be a hard decision here. It's kind of rare to see this many cards that you would be, super excited to see just all in the same pack. Which, sadly does not make you more excited to see the pack. But, oh man, You're gonna go for
I
the
do,
Dragonite with Delta Charge.
yeah, I do think this is a correct decision. He already has two Metagross and only one um Dragonite. Yeah, only one Dragonite. So the 2-2 split there on his deck is better. If he plays like a 3-1 split, is not great. If you prize a Dragonite, your deck doesn't work. It's not great still. He does. He really, really needs the third Metagross for his deck to work decently. So he's probably just hoping that that wheels, and I'd say it's probable for that to wheel because that pack I'm looking at right now has a Jirachi, a Great Ball, a Soup, and then on some evolving basics and some cards you don't really care about. I guess it's up to luck. Like maybe someone will get the signal there that someone is trying to wield the Metagross, seeing that the Metagross and the Dragonite were in the same pack, and then one of them are gone. You get the second one,
Yeah.
but he's probably praying for that to not happen.
Yeah, definitely like a really uncomfortable decision to have to make here, just because all those cards were perfect in his deck, and it's you're only gonna get two. You don't even know if you're gonna get two of the three, I should say. So you had to definitely pick which one means the most to you at the time, and kind of just hope and pray that you get lucky. Um, so I do want to hop back over to JL's now and just see where his draft kind of goes from here.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
we do see your favorite Macargo in this pack.
Goodbye, my child. I'm sorry.
So we do see Lynette's and a Jirachi here, as well as a few Rainbow Energies. I'm not quite sure which he's going to go for here.
I'd say Boost Energy is super strong in this deck because Gardevoir EX is 10 times the total energy in play, and that Boost Energy is 30 damage on a single energy. It's you do need to like attach on the right turn, but you also play Needle Queen Delta, which the Vengeance attack is for 3 colorless. So this Boost Energy is powering up like 2 of your best attackers, and it is for a single turn, right? But even then, the old Gardevoir decks used to play 4 of the Boost Energy just for the surprise plays. He goes for the Jirachi. It's not a wrong pick, right? You always want a Jirachi or two on your pile to have that early game consistency. But that boost energy, mm, I don't know if that wheels. There's 9 cards on the pack. Like if he's wheeling something like a Grimer, not the boost energy.
Yeah, Boost Energy works in so many other can work in so many other decks too that it's unlikely. Um, how good is Jirachi in these cube decks? I feel like it's a card I see often, but I'm not sure how good it is in these. It's a different kind of style deck where you can't really build your whole play style around it. Maybe you can. This is like an era. This is a block cube.
Mm, Depends. It doesn't have the strength that it used. Oh, he changes the
He
boost
pivots
energy.
over to the
Nice,
boost energy.
perfect. Yeah, he probably read the card and said, "Oh, yeah." Uh, but even then, Jirachi, I'd say the um, the psychic Jirachi is a bit better because it has 2 types and can hit for some weird weaknesses.
For sure.
The other one, you if you get like a 1 or 2 early, you can just go around for switches and warp points, and even warp energies on the right deck is it's fine to like if you attach to a Jirachi and then later soup that away, you keep the attachment for like an evolution, something useful. It's I'd say it's better than on your usual cube, that Jirachi, the EXD Oxus one with Stellar Wish, because you still have a lot of ways to play around with that. Like not every cube has 3 or 4 soup teleporters on their on the list.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I am also happy to see the boost pick up here. Just because that's like you said, it helps out his damage. You can surprise someone with a knockout that way, and I mean it's good for reaching as well. Like you do want to make sure you get into those kind of if you need to get into those big knockouts, you definitely want to be able to take them.
Interesting enough, this Crobat wasn't picked by Connor. I wonder if he never got any of the good stadiums and he just is kind of ignoring Radar Jam and
He
because
does have one. He has
Radar Jam.
one.
Yeah, but probably one's not enough. He's probably paying attention for wheels. He's trying to wheel like one or two of them. And when he saw that they didn't wheel, he's like, okay, I'm gonna attack with Crobat EX, Dark Robot, and forget about Crobat Delta. Maybe have one to like target attack something, but he doesn't want to focus on that strategy. I see a Pow here picked up pretty good. Not nothing, but he passes the Gurbis again. He has one more shot to get a Garbus on the next pack. Maybe that next pack is bad enough. He reads the card and says, "Oh, okay,
I can use this.
this is
Yeah.
pretty good. Let's hope that that happens." Interesting enough, also the Emperor's Deltas kind of left there on the dust. Nobody. That's a pretty strong signal. Also, nobody on the Delta Circle deck.
Yeah, it seemed like that was gonna be
Okay.
something that a lot of people were gonna take for the executive.
Uh, yeah, it's. I think it's just one of those things that the card never appeared on like the first or second pack, so
Yeah.
they kind of ignored it when they appeared finally. And he doesn't get the Gurb is pretty sad. The Gurb is such a good attacker in your deck. You want those like low economy attackers, right? You just attach an energy, Psy Shadow another, and you're hitting like what 50, 60, 70 maybe. It's
Yeah.
pretty good. That's a two shot on anything.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I probably wouldn't have pieced that one together myself drafting this, without being familiar with
Okay.
the cards. So I could definitely understand if maybe she's not feeling the Gorbice in this draft.
Mhm. True. Okay. That's fair.
But I'm sure Vent will gladly pick it up later as he has taken pretty much all of the water that the cube has to
Yeah,
offer.
true. Yeah, maybe Vent just gets the Garbage and banks on the Rainbow Energies, carrying him through the game.
Yes, I did see that. I think the Metagross and the Dragonite both are the Metagross and the Dark Raikou got picked up pretty much right after they were passed. So um,
Oh, that.
it looks like neither will be wheeling over to Willie here.
Mhm. Oh, that's sad. That those cards were pretty important for his deck. Oh no, they are on Vix spec. Both are there.
Oh,
This.
they are. I must have missed them when I was looking.
Yeah.
Oh, they are there. Okay, I must have been looking at a different pack. So
Yeah. So one of them will get
one
there.
wheels. All right, so that was I was just kidding. So they're both actually there.
Yeah, he will be super happy to see this Metagross. If he only sees the Raikou, it's like sad but okay.
hmm
That's still a decent attacker there. For either deck that he wants to build, either Dragthroat or Meta Knight. But if he gets the three Metagross Deltas and the two Dragonite Deltas, like that's pretty good.
And
That's a
Willie
pretty
over
good deck right
here having to decide which one he's going to send, or JL over here deciding which one he's going to send Willie. Kind of interesting. I don't
now.
know if he's too interested in any of these cards, so it kind of feels like a gamble.
Yeah, maybe he goes for like the Pidgey. Just kind of maybe he opens a Pidgeot on the last pack, right? And you have the second there, the worst Pidgeot with beating wings. And
Yeah,
yeah, let's see.
I would be tempted to take the
uh,
Metagross just because it's a good card, and um, at this point you might as well just hate draft it out of someone else's deck. Yep, which is what we see here.
mm,
So it does look like Willie's gonna be getting the Raikou EX.
yeah, Willie, if you're watching this on YouTube, sorry, but yeah, you made the right decision there. You just got punished for anything, for nothing. I mean, like you didn't get punished for picking the wrong card. It was just
Yeah,
luck of the
it
draw.
just happens that way. You gotta make do with what you got. But it's good to at least get
Yeah,
something over nothing. So
yeah. Maybe that's the signal for him to change into Dragtroll. He doesn't have good attackers for Dragtroll. He has a Articuno and a Raikou. The Dragonites are pretty good attackers by themselves. They are 50 damage for 3, but you have Darkness Energy to buff out the damage potential. And Dragonite also has 2 resistances for Grass and Fighting. It has a weird weakness to Colorless, which is not a really attacking type. So 120 HP on a stage 2 like that is pretty beefy.
I agree. Um, you know what? I am excited. I'm excited to follow Willie in this last pack here. So I really want to see where he ends up taking his draft because, like you said, he's got a lot of the dark. He's got pretty much all the Dark Dragonite, right? Because he's got four.
3 Dark Dragon. He wants the second Dark Dragonite. I think this deck is not really playable without the second Dragonite.
Mhm.
The Dark Dragonite, I mean. Maybe he opens the Dragonite EX Delta and does some crazy stuff with that.
Oh, he's just a lot of
Uh,
Dark Dragonair. Okay, see, I was reading that at first.
yeah,
I read that as Dragonite.
the
um,
Dark Dragonair is also really, really good. The
yeah,
power is if you have active, you can search evolution, so you can like go for the Electrodes really early, and the Dragonite's really early too. Like turn 3, you have a Electrode and Dragonite in play if you have a turn 2 Dragonair active, so that's pretty fast.
yeah. So this will be some last pack magic here for Willie. Um, hopefully we'll see something come out for. Hopefully that Dark Dragonite would be really good. We do see Briny, Cetacean, Steven, Admin, and that Vaporeon EX. Lots of just insane cards in this pack.
Oh my God! Look at this. This pack is just amazing. Like on a late on a late pack like this, you just get the card you need. Like you don't really think about how good Vaporeon EX when you see
Mm-hmm.
like the Briny or the admin. Like
Exactly.
he's probably looking at his supporter line, looking. He has 2 admins, no Celios. No Celios is interesting. He has 1 Professor Elm and 1 Briny. Briny is really good in this deck because you can move the energy around with Dark Dragonite. I'd say if he's playing Drag Troll, he goes for Briny. If he doesn't play Drag Troll, he goes for Celios.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. The Briny's just so good because you have the if you have the mobility, then like you can just heal off everything. And we do see him go for the Sequence Advice here, so maybe
Oh
that
no,
isn't.
he has 2 Briny. I'm sorry, he does have 2 Briny, so he doesn't get
Oh,
injured.
so he's got enough Briny.
Yeah, no, that Stevens is correct. I think also having no Celios kind of sucks because it's just the decent card in general. We've never not won Celios, but Steven, yeah, sure. Stevens is also great. It's a bit of a trap also because when you're a new player, you have played a lot of new formats. You always think about drawing cards, right? You go
Right.
crazy draw, and you never think about search on supporters. Like, if you could, what do you want more? Draw 6 or search 1? What is better? It depends, right?
Right.
But I think the more you play this format, the more you respect the search one. Like the many turns of, I just need 1 card. I just need 1 card,
Mm-hmm.
and you draw the nothing with seasons
Well, you think about
is a
it
bit.
too. Like, if you need to search out, let's just say like an evolving stage one, because you need to evolve in your stage two next turn. If you whiff the stage one to evolve, you're set back another turn, regardless of how many cards you do that turn. So sometimes the search is just way better. You can just find exactly what you need to start going through your turn. So yeah, you can't undervalue how strong search can be. We just see another Bennett EX. I think it's going towards jail. Which he might be very excited to see.
There's a Jolteon EX here. It's going towards JL, but it's going towards Slight, which it's probably jumping out of his chair if he sees the Jolteon EX. Because
Right.
it's one of just the best cards on the cube for his deck, specifically on the spread Crobat. Again, he's playing the same deck basically as last time, just some different lines. He's already playing Lightning Energies, probably because of the Raichu. Maybe he chooses to take that away. I don't know how his draft is going. Um, for Willie here, not a lot of great cards in this pack. Honestly, he can go for Copycat. He already has a lot of supporters. He doesn't need the extra supporters now. He could go ahead and like hate draft a Jolteon or a Bennett, maybe. I don't know. I don't know which is the correct pick in this one. To be fair.
Yeah, I want to see how many all supporters he does have because he does lack search. He is going to take the Jolteon here. I mean, definitely a good pickup. You don't really want to play against something like that.
Yeah, that's just the one of the best hate drafts you can do right now.
Two admin, two Stevens,
His
um,
supporter line is just very good right now because
two
three
mentor,
Elm,
scientist
choose
research.
yeah.
Yeah, his supporter shot is
Mm.
great. So he's probably he can afford to hate draft this Jolteon because and you have to expect decks like spread decks like Connor's to be in the field. So Jolteon EX is going to be insane in that deck. So you want to take that away so you don't have to worry about it. So something you don't see in Cube League as much because there's multiple pods, as opposed to in this case, where there's only one, is hate drafting, which is something you honestly have to you consider when you're only playing with 8 people around the table who are limited to one cube. You can you gotta you gotta execute it correctly, but at certain points when you take cards that other lines need to decrease their quality can really help you out in the very end. Because if a card like Jolteon EX is going to be that threatening and that scary for your deck to deal with, you should just take it out of the pool for someone else, so someone else can't use it against you. So commonly see that in these style of cubes where it's just one pod going through, and it can be very strong.
Yeah, and he also, I was looking at his deck, like some of his counts right now, where you were talking. He has 4 rare candy. His deck is really good. I think I don't know still if he's playing Drag Throat or Meta Knight. I think he has a very strong core for Meta Knight, which is uh, kind of bad when you see that he only has 2 Beldum.
Oh,
He
it's
has no
right.
like metal Beldum, so maybe he looked at that and said, "Sure, goodbye," and goes for the Drag Throw deck. Just looking at the second Dark Dragonite, it's probably closes the door. That's a for sure Drag Throw deck right there. Like 4 rare candy, 2 Mr. Brinies, so you can like tank and re-evolve with your 4 rare candy. He has Rayquaza, which he would need a lot of setup to make that work. He needs like a lot of homes, cast farms, and magnetons. He has 2 right now, and yeah, only 2. He can play that. It's a bit crazy if he does. I'd do it. Like sure, why not? On the late game, you usually can stick 2 cast farms in play and make them like move around and keep them, so you can just holy star out of nothing. The late a few. Oh, the second Dark Dragonite
There
right
it
there.
is, right on time.
Okay, saved. This deck's pretty good. We see him like looking at his deck and just separating the types here,
Mm-hmm.
just like isn't this Pidgeottos, no, isn't this Hariyama's, and
I don't.
probably thinking about what he's gonna play.
I mean, I hope he takes it. Um, it's so good in his deck when he has set up here.
I
Um,
think he never not takes it. Yeah.
you never know. Those Holland cast forms are pretty tempting.
Chooses Celios. Let's see if that doesn't change here. He may want to wield that. Just it's so late, right? There's so many good cards in this pack in general that
And we were
wheeling that
talking
is
about his supporter quality being search quality being pretty low.
yeah. Maybe he's hearing us. Going okay, Celios pretty good.
um, no, I guess he's hoping to wheel it. Kind of risky, but we'll see if ultimately it pays off here. I guess no matter which direction he
Uh,
goes, the Celios will work in his deck.
mm,
But I feel like having the
yeah, for
two,
sure.
like you have access to Dark Dragonair, like you already have search within that.
But you
Um,
have to search the Dark Dragonair.
right.
Is the thing.
He does have access to 4 of them though, so I don't know. I could have seen the Dark Dragonite getting picked up just because it's risky if it doesn't come back.
Yeah, maybe it's late enough that he's just sure that that card is not getting picked over like okay supporters. Some people are going after like decent supporters, castaways and TV reporters at this time. I would like to see the fluffy. I guess fluffy bear is not great here because you can't attach to dark. Yeah, you can't attach fluffy bear to dark, so it's not that great on his deck. He can retreat out of like dark dragonites and such.
Yeah, that's something I would have missed. Because I know it can't get attached to EXs, but I would forget it can't get attached to the
Yeah, there's
dark Pokemon,
dark.
which there are plenty in this
Yeah,
cube.
there are some weird cards that can be attached. Like I think some of mostly tools can be attached to dark Pokemon. Usually, dark is not like an exclusive thing on cards. It's only on a few tools. This being a very specific one that I remembered.
So we do see
Uh,
the pivot to the Fluffy Berry actually.
sure, yeah. He does have a lot of other
Yeah,
features there. He can like attach to one of the deltas maybe and use that. Oh, Gardevoir EX is there, passing back to JL.
JL. So maybe it works its way over there. That'd be really nice. Could we see a
Probably.
Beldum pickup here? I know he had the Metagross, but no real didn't have that many Beldums.
Oh, he has a Jolteon EX, so he says, "Sure, I like
Yeah,
that
he can play
card."
it with the Eevee. So I guess he's fleshing that Jolteon out to evolve.
It's not great on his. He doesn't have other great like spread attackers, but Jolteon is also lightning. He can use the Dark Dragonite to charge it up, and it's just a decent attacker overall. It's 3 for 70,
Mm-hmm.
and discard a energy. And maybe the power can get in for some decent damage in the late few stages of the game.
And he's also like such a strong card in general. So
Yeah, I'm super interested to see what he wants to play because his deck right now is not like if you look at his deck count, it's kind of all over the place. With 31 Pokemon, he has got a lot of Pokemon here to make this work. I think the Metagross line for sure comes out from this.
mm-hmm.
Um, Putting a bit of the Voltars, maybe playing a 2-2 or a 3-2 line. You're playing the entire Dragonite suit, I think. Like you just want to go into that as fast as possible. You cut the Executor because at this point you have a lot of dark Pokemon. The card is not getting as much damage as it was before. And Rayquaza Star, I was rethinking about it. He's playing Dark Dragonite. I guess Dragonite Delta. So he has the lightning energies already. He doesn't need like a lot of cast forms, just one. It's pretty doable.
Right. We do see another Eevee in this pack, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, you get the Eevee thinking you're getting the last possible Eevee, and then
Right, and then another one comes off. He looks like he's thinking the Matang here was in deselected. So I wonder what else is he's looking at in this pack. What do you think?
um hit punch. I guess is bad. No, I think getting the Matang is fine. There's no problems with it because you're very much probably not playing the Hitmonchan. And this, you already have Raikou is probably the only Rocket CX. He has Articuno, but no real payouts for that. Um, yeah, Metang is fine. He's not afraid of Garbus. He's not afraid of the React Magneton deck. For sure, gonna be played here.
Mm-hmm.
The Crystal Shard is a bit scary, I'd say, because look at the Pokemon that had colorless weakness. He has Rayquaza Star and every Dragonite, 5 cards, 4 Dragonites and Rake. So any Pokemon can become a colorless. So I'd probably go for the Crystal Shards just to be sure that nobody plays that and like randomly screws you over. But Metang here is fine. No reason not to.
I'm interested to see how much Metagross he has like available to him. I don't remember if he picked up that many, if any,
Metagross or
with the Matang pickup here.
oh, he has no Metang, but he has 4 Candy, so he can play like a slim line of Metagross, like a 2-1-2. I don't think that's good
Oh, I
enough.
see. He has two Metagross. They were the metals. Um,
Yeah,
how much?
they're classified as metal.
He's got two Beldum, and two Metagross.
Yeah, getting the one Matang here is fine.
Yeah.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems fine. I'm just interested to see. Yeah, I guess the 2-1-2 is not ideal, but it's kind of what you have to work with here.
Instead of using as the star attacker, just a secondary one.
And this,
See, here's some filler on this pack.
yeah, nothing really too crazy that you're looking at here. I don't even think the multi energy can that be attached to EXs
It
or
can.
darks, whatever. So,
No, it can attach to anything multi.
okay.
he can move it with Dark Dragonite. It's okay. He gets the Scyther, which is a dark Pokemon. Can become a grass. Does he? Is he worried about any type of weakness? I don't think so. It just. I think he just gets the card. There's no reason. You're not playing, but um, I guess a multi would be fine. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He plays. He has to play 4 dark and 4 dark metals. So no, multi is not good in this deck.
Yeah, this other seems fine. I don't know if he'll actually play it, but
Probably not. But yeah,
yeah, I mean,
sometimes you see the EX Pokemon and like your heart just speaks louder than your brain. That's for sure
they do look cool, so
happening.
yeah, I value how nice they look. But I do see a Rockets Pokeball here. That's a good pickup.
Oh, that's how many does he have? He has none. So hey, that's a start.
Especially because we know he was missing out on a lot of search cards here. Which
Yeah.
really getting into the Dark Dragonair could be just a good way to set up.
Yeah, any way to get a Dragonair here is very good for his deck. Just the consistency up on that is not like a one Pokemon. It's just this gets 2, 3, 4 Pokemon if you need to.
Right.
Huh? There's 3 Feebas in the cube. You see 2 of them in the same pack.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's unfortunate for anyone that was banking on. I guess people would only play 101 line, 1-1 line, so that doesn't really matter.
Understandable.
I think we will just see the filler and the rest of these packs. So
Yeah. I would like
it,
to work my way around here and see what everyone else has come together with.
mhm.
So we've seen Willie. He's got the Dark Dragonite. We'll ultimately see what he ends up playing here. Um, moving over to Sebastian. Sebastian, I do see a fair amount of Executor and Execute. So, um,
That's 3 eggs for sure.
yeah, he's got the 3 eggs here. I don't think he's got anything else. He's pretty much built Rye eggs.
Yeah.
I see double Raichu, or triple Raichu Delta, as well as 3 Executor.
Four Rainbow Energy, 3 double Rainbow Energy, 2 Carstone. That's pretty good. That's pretty decent.
So it looks like Sebastian was able to get into the line he was going for here with the all the deltas. So interested to see that here. Mike Gibbs coming up right next here. It looks like we know he was drafting some of the lightning for. We do see a lot of Dark Tyranitar in his draft pool, which I thought Vic was going for, but it looks like Mike Gibbs ended up with it.
Yeah, this was really interesting for Mike because someone else was in the Dark Gianters and he somehow got the 2 of them that are most important for his deck that are the send damage ones. This is a pretty good deck, I'd say. He has 2 ATM rocks. I guess getting the third one would be pretty hard, so 2's pretty decent there. He has all the Ampharos. He's probably gonna play. I say he's playing 2 of the Ampharos. He only plays EX and Dark. He doesn't play any of the other ones. And the rest of the deck is just good old consistency. Um, uh, yeah, he has some other cards that he's probably not gonna play. 2 admins is fine. 1 windstorms, okay. I don't know how many stadiums he has. He has 3 stadiums. Sure, I don't know if he plays all of the 3 stadiums, but maybe he can be a bit afraid of the super lock decks and getting the Gardevoir there that JL probably tried to wheel and well failed that
And true
or
enough,
some other
I was gonna
there.
say, Mike only has 2 Larvitars,
Oh,
so I'm not exactly sure. Um,
he probably plays 2-1-2
yeah,
and cuts the turn the
he
non-sun
just
damage
plays the
one,
two
which is
sand
pretty.
damage.
Yeah, that's not great. That makes this deck like considerably worse, I'd say, because just the consistency of like starting Larvitar and like Lanettes for 2. That's pretty good. When you're
Right.
that's it's weird.
So ultimately interested to see where Mike Gibbs ends up here. Moving forward to Vent, which I'm not surprised if we see more water coming in from Vent here. So this was pretty much what he's on. We do see, I think he has 5 Swamperts.
Yeah,
um,
he has a
4 Mudkip, only 2 Marsh I think. Let me see if he got any other Marsh.
Marsh stomps.
Oh, he's got okay, no, he's got 2 more. So he's got he's got a
Yeah, he has
four,
candy.
5 line of Swampert.
Yeah, he
Uh,
has to make some decisions here on what he's playing because I think that Flagon line's getting cut out.
hmm.
The oh, he has Pidgeot.
Oh,
He
so
has
he
the
got a
second
little quick
Pidgeot.
search video up. Very nice, very
Okay.
nice. So I mean, let's see what supporter. Why? Yeah, I mean, he's got tons of good supporters here. He's got 3 Celios here as well. So I think he should be
Yeah,
just
Chilios is
fine.
considerably better when you have.
Double VS Seeker
Um,
as well.
oh, this deck is really good. It's just consistent, right? It's just hitting with
Mm,
Swampert EX after Swampert EX, and then you just get a single like attack with Garbus, like take a knockout. You have Mewstar to get like some crazy attack on the mid game,
plus access to
and
Pidgeot as well, or double backup if you want. So
couple backup. Oh my god, yeah, this deck is just. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's solid. It has the potential to go far, far, far.
yeah. Let's circle back. Let's go to Mysterious Player, who is kind of the antithesis of that. He was drafting Blaziken before, so
Hmm.
perhaps we see more of that in his pool. As we didn't really see much going on. I did see one Ruby Sapphire Blaziken in another person's pod here,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. To split
uh,
there.
it looks pretty much us where we're at here. Bunch of Blazikens. He did pick up double Nidoqueen. Um,
Mm,
so it looks like he's kind of
Don't think.
cycling through his deck here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna play Blaziken here. Like the Nido Queen deck is not great if you don't have like I guess he does have the 2-2 there, but the Blaziken part of his deck is just so strong. I'd be shocked if he plays Nido Queen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just has. I mean, he has a Delcatty for the Blaziken as well, so he doesn't really need the Nidoqueen for any
Mm.
particular strat here. He's got enough consistency going. We'll have to see where he goes. And then we have Slight deck, who is picking up some Croats before. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more development there. He did get the Flareon EX and an Umbreon EX. Like, wow.
Oh my god, look at this.
How much
He
EV does
has
he have,
three
though?
EVs and three evolutions. It's the
Oh, I
same
do see the
deck.
3 EV. Wow, so we're going to see another Crobat EVs deck from Connor, from Slight, I should
One in the
say.
game.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive. I mean, if it worked the first time, why wouldn't it work again, you know?
Three surprise time machines. Deck is so good because he can like start with like a Crobat Delta, then you can surprise time machine away, use a distortion or two. He can also like use Espion EX, then surprise time machine for like another card, and then this lets you use Espion again, right? Put it back on your deck,
Right.
and Umbreon is even stronger. Flareon is also pretty good. Flareon and Crobat EX is such a good combo with Pester because it's 100 damage guaranteed, 120 with coin flip. So this is just insane. His deck is so good. It
Yeah.
doesn't have much of the consistent no the lock part. This is just attacking Crobat, but it's pretty good as an attacking Crobat.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see where his games go. And then we have Vic, who kind of had to make a tough switch, I guess. I don't know, tough. His deck still looks pretty solid. We've seen him taking the Sariana switch before. Now it looks like he's got double Hariyama EX with the double Curse Stone. I'm wondering what
Mm.
else we're seeing here. I'm not seeing a ton of other Pokemon. Then again, I was just looking at the top here. He did run out more of the Larvitars, but I did not. I don't think he saw any of the other. He didn't see any of
The
the
Dark
Hitars. Yeah, which
Yeah, I
is
think Mike just snapped picked him. It's
so
just the luck
he's got a what, a
not drawing.
3-2 Hariyama EX lane. I'm not seeing much else for him.
Yeah, both of his lines were just drafted by other players. I think Sebastian was on the Baby Hariyama line,
Hmm.
and Mike was on the other part of the Dark Tyrannosaur. And the other dark cards were picked up by I think Sebastian too, right? So he just got the short end of the stick here. His deck's still pretty decent, I'd say. He has a fast deck, I'd say, with Vaporeon X is a pretty good fast attacker if he can get a turn 2 fast wave of the swirl, putting your opponent down to 4 and attacking 40. It's pretty good. The two Carstones and Hariyama, like you can win a game out of that, right? Just lock that in the active
Yeah.
and knock off, and some decks would just fold. Nothing you can do there. Hitmonchan X is also decent in this deck. His deck is just fast attackers. He wants to go
Yeah.
fast. That's hard on this cube. I'm not gonna lie. It's not easy to do that. He does have two Succession Crystal to kind of go through the late game on the Dark Tyranitar. I think it's the only. Yeah, Dark Tyranitar is the only card that can use Succession Crystal because the X's can't use. So Vaporeon EX, Hariyama EX, and Hitmonchan EX cannot use that.
Yeah. But I mean, like the Hariyami X combined with the double curse stone, this is pretty strong. So um, he's just got he's just got good attackers, which is
Yeah, good
sometimes that's
fast
just half the
attackers.
battle. So it's been unfortunate hitting into those Dark T-Tars. I guess Mike might have taken them very early because I doubt
Yeah,
Vic would have just let them go. Um,
for sure.
so yeah, we'll see where he ends up at. Interested to see like the deck that I'm interested to see how strong the Hariyami X ends up being because the combination does seem pretty good. Now we're gonna
Hmm.
go to JL, who did let the Gardevoir EX go through the second one. So
Yeah, that was weird. I
bit
don't know
unsure.
what was in that pack because that card was pretty good for him. He has four TV reporter, but he doesn't. He's not playing a Macargo. Hmm.
He does have double dual
His deck is.
armor.
I think he. Yeah. Hmm. I have
I'm
to
just
think
kidding.
about this a bit.
I guess maybe focusing on the Bennett EX.
Yeah, the Tube and ADX makes. Oh yeah, TV report. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense now because the he wants to just go fast discard and get this Ben ADX giant on the early game. And he has one Gardevoir EX to close out the game. So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, Bennett EX very strong attacker. Shady move also has been able to manipulate damage. So yeah, looks like it is pretty much just a more aggressive stage one deck from JL here. Then I think what do we have? Willie. We ended at with the Dark Dragonite. So I think that's
Yeah,
everybody.
he has to choose. Really, it's funny because he has to like go through his deck and just think really hard about everything uh what he wants to play. I think the best way to play this is cutting the Metagross and just playing Drag Throat with Dark Dragonite with Dragonite Delta and Rayquaza Star. You can just get an easy win right there. Some of the Rockets Pokemon, not all of them. I think Raiku's the best one. Zodiac, sure. Let's say sure. It's a fine attacker. And just lay that out like a decent game plan. Don't try to go too crazy with like
Mm-hmm.
making cross and making two Dragonites, and that's not gonna happen probably. Just go easy and don't try to brick.
Yeah, so we'll be picking up the games here shortly. The players are gonna have some time to build their decks. So around 6:50, you can expect the games to come back here. Thank you so much for joining us for the draft. It was a lot of fun. Davi, thank you for coming out and commentating the draft here. Excited to see how these games turn out. So yeah, we'll be back shortly with round one. Thanks for watching.